Coming up on this edition of Cogeco News, we update the COVID situation in our district. From homeless shelter to transitional housing, we have an update. And in sports, a ray of light. Welcome inside the Your TV studio for this edition of Cogeco News, truly local. My name is Clark Heipel. There are just 2 active cases of the coronavirus in the North Bay Parry Sound district. The latest data was released on Tuesday afternoon. Let's take a look at the data. A resolved case to report on this day as just 2 cases remain in our district. This follows an update from the local public health group late Monday afternoon that reaffirmed that Castleholm's positive test that was later deemed negative was indeed a true positive. The local unit references a microbiologist at the Ontario Public Health Lab in Toronto that reviewed the test. That individual who tested positive has since received 2 negative tests, and therefore the case is resolved. Difficult to make sense of it all, however, the good news is that the data from the sweeping tests at Castleholm suggest the 1 positive case was contained and has since resolved. The unit goes on to say that a COVID outbreak is still in place at the long-term care home as per Ministry of Health guidelines. Efforts were made to secure an interview with Medical Officer of Health Dr. Jim Chirico. Those efforts were unsuccessful on this Tuesday. We will try again on Wednesday. Now, with the coronavirus situation, a strain is placed on social services. And on Monday, provincial funding of over $1 million was announced by the province to DSAB, the District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board. That is the good news. Amidst the positive movement in providing social services to vulnerable members of our community, concerns are being raised that members from other communities hours away are traveling to North Bay to access the services that are in so demand.
The funding of $1.2 million came from the Affordable Housing Program when we were looking for the mental health facility for DSAB. And this is now, through the COVID-19, has turned into the COVID crisis and the homelessness situation. And that's why a Gateway House here will be the perfect location for those 16 units for those most at risk.
Mark King is the chair of DSAB, the District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board. He met me on the site, soon to be the new Gateway House off Chippewa Street. The Pete Pelangio Homeless Shelter is good through June in terms of funding. Will this be up and running by then?
No, I don't expect that to happen, Clark. We've made application again back to the province to look for further funding for the double rinks proposal. And I think it's important to recognize that this is not the be all and end all. The double rinks facility is a low barrier shelter. This project here is transitional housing, so they kind of work together. We see that there may be opportunities on this particular property to maybe address the low barrier shelter issue, but we'll have to see how that pans out.
I have heard concerns about the location, being that it's close to Chippewa High School as well as St. Ange down the street. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know, Clark, we're going to have this problem no matter where we go. And, I've been watching the downtown core since the low barrier shelter has been moved out to double rinks. And you can see a real change on Main Street. This location, in my mind, couldn't be better.
Sorry to interrupt, but the change on Main Street in a good way or a bad way?
Well, no, obviously, we see less of that transient population moving in the downtown core. And that was hopefully part of the process that would take place. And getting back to the location, there are always going to be issues with respect to location. But this particular building, the construction of it is solid cement. There are small rooms in it. It even has a holding cell in the downstairs, along with an elevator system. There's also an extra garage in the back corner which could be used. the other part of it is there's a large piece of property here that could be conducive to other possibilities depending on funding from the province.
I have been hearing from numerous people around the community that homeless folks down south in Barrie are being bussed up to North Bay because our services are superior. It's inhumane to deny anyone social services. However, it does place a strain on ours. Are you hearing any reports of that?
Well, I've long suspected that, Clark, and when I get an opportunity to talk to the fellow people in NOSDA, which is the Northern Ontario DSAB organization, we talk about whether or not that's taken place, and I've been vocal about making sure that other communities look after their own problems. I think we're capable of doing that. But you're right, it's a situation that certainly has to be addressed.
I contacted the communications department for the city of Barrie. They replied with an email, quote, "The county of SIMCOE delivers social services for the city of Barrie, and as such, we don't have any information on this," unquote. I then contacted the county of SIMCOE. I have not heard back as of broadcast time. Social services with North Bay Mayor Al McDonald. He joined me over Skype on this Tuesday morning to discuss.
So we're seeing about 30 to 35 individuals at Pelangio Rink. It's a true homeless shelter where people can go and get out of the cold or the rain or out of the weather elements, and they can get fed. So Mary Davis and her group are doing a tremendous job. We are honestly getting some complaints in the neighborhood for sure, but we're doing everything we can to lessen that impact and also look after the vulnerable and the homeless. The amount of money that DSAB, or local social services, did receive was like around 1.2 million. And that is for transitional housing, which is a little bit different than the homeless shelter. But I think that's fabulous news. Really appreciate the support from our MPP and the province for that. It was all part of the roundtable trying to come up with all the different services. So I think it's good news in the long run. But we as society have to, find solutions to the homeless problem. It's not just North Bay, it's right across the country.
Will these two locations operate in harmony at the same time for the long term?
So we only have funding to operate Pelangio up till the end of June. So we're actually going to set up a meeting with DSAB, mental health, and ourselves for next steps after June 30th. And we're not too sure, I don't have the details how quickly they can get the former OPP station up and running, but that is on our agenda to try to plan past June 30th for the homeless situation. It's not easy, it's a very complex challenge. We provide shelter. They can have up to 50 individuals at Pelangio, yet we still have people sleeping in tents. They don't want to go to the shelter. So we have to recognize as citizens that there are some that refuse, even when you provide the shelter, will not go.
Now, I know this is an extremely delicate issue and people's livelihoods are at stake, but I have heard conjecture from members of the public that citizens from other towns, other cities are being bused to North Bay because our services are the best in the province. That's great, being able to help people. However, our tax base and our supports can only go so far. How do you manage this if you are able to confirm that people are being bused here from other cities?
Yeah, we're looking into that, Clark. We've heard that as well. We can't confirm it. Do we know that the odd person does come up from Barrie? Yes, we do know that. But we also know that some of our citizens go elsewhere as well. So anyways, as I mentioned, it is very complex. And people are allowed to go wherever they want anyways, right? So we can't mandate that you can't go live in Orillia or Barrie, the same way we can't say you can't move to North Bay. But I know it's a sore spot with some people. But at the end of the day, citizens can move around and there's nothing we can do. We just try to provide the services if we're here. And there's no question that Mary Davis and her group and DSAB in the city do look after their vulnerable very well. And I think that just speaks to our community as being caring and generous. But there'll always be some that disagree with that as well.
Shifting focus now, scammers target members of the public, coronavirus or not. And this week is Police Week, a good time to talk about scams and how you can protect yourself. Here's Greg with Special Constable John Schultz.
Well, that's crime prevention is such a big thing. The best crime is no crime at all. So if we can get people to take a few minutes, especially now with COVID, a lot of people are still at home. So take a few minutes and educate not just yourself, all your family members as well. So crime prevention you can look at your home. Are you locking it up properly? Have you got proper lighting? Maybe it's a good time to consider cameras, because that's a big thing now, taking advantage of technology as it's progressed. You're looking at bike safety. Bikes are a big thing in this community like any other with stolen bikes. Most people have a smartphone. Take a picture of your bike, turn it over, get the serial number. That's what we need. We quite often have people say, well, that's a stolen bike. Well, we have to be able to prove it's stolen. So by documenting the serial number, if you happen to lose your bike or if it gets stolen, that's what we need in order to make a more successful investigation.
Of all things, puppies become bait for scammers during difficult times. Schultz says back in 2008, during the financial crash, puppy scams were everywhere. He says in 2020, there are more puppy scams on the go, and a couple of North Bay residents have been burned because of these type of scams.
So one individual, she wanted a puppy. We're spending a lot of time at home. So she went onto a site and said, looking for a puppy. She gets a response from somebody who allegedly lives in British Columbia who said, we have a dog for free for you. But we have a program available. So we're going to send you a check that's going to cover the cost of the shipping. So you just have to endorse the check and then send the money to this shipping company that we use. So she gets the check, deposits it. Of course, it's a counterfeit check. So now she's transferred the money to the company. They have it. She's cashed a counterfeit check, so the bank holds her responsible, and she has to repay the funds of just over $2,000. The other instance, again, they'll use anything. They'll try and they're pulling at your heartstrings, right? And who doesn't love a puppy? Over and above that, our other victim, somebody moved to Halifax and they have a child that's sick and they can no longer take care of their dog. So they're willing to give it up for free, but you have to spend $500 to pay for the shipping. So this victim, she sent $500, e-transferred, and the dog was shipped part way, but then there was a request for additional funds because they needed insurance fees. So in this case, she went, this doesn't make really sense. So she contacted the police, and we were able to verify for her that that this is a scam. She lost $500, but there was a potential for more, because once they get the hook in, they're going to keep coming up with excuses why they need more money. So the puppy scam, like all these other scams, we have to be really vigilant today.
And always trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it likely isn't. We have reached break time here on this Tuesday edition of Cogeco News. As you saw Greg in that video, it was snowing in the morning and it was sunny in the afternoon. We do have one more segment, then we'll have weather. But first, a short break. on this Tuesday. Well, challenge made, challenge accepted by the North Bay Robotic Wizards. That's our Greg Esterbrook's writing this, as North Bay's first team, 1305, one of 11 winners out of 1,800 entrants worldwide, and they're winners of the Valet COVID-19 Challenge. The goal was to create technology to combat the virus. Our Greg Esterbrook's joined with one member of the 1305 team via Zoom.
It uses a UVC light bulb inside a cart that's lined with a reflective material that amplifies the light and kills the virus. Essentially, the reason you get skin cancer is because the sun breaks down your cells. It's using a more powerful version of that to kill the virus.
And where are we right now in development? Because don't you have to get a copyright or get a patent to move on with this?
I'm not sure about the legal issues. We finished the prototypes and we've tested it. It works. And with the grant from Valet, we're starting to order parts so we can ship it to people.
Will it be used in hospitals? Can it be permitted to be used in hospitals?
There is one in the North Bay Hospital. It will be useful in hospitals, but the main goal, like the main targets, are places that are at risk of COVID but don't really have the resources to protect themselves sufficiently. So places like hospices and old age homes and homeless shelters.
I mean, Valet is a well-known mining conglomerate, basically. How did they get involved and how did they reach out to 1305, or was it the other way around?
Well, Valet actually did a COVID-19 challenge where they had people apply for the grant, and there was like a lot of applications. They went through them, 1305 applied, and we were one of 11 that got the grant in the world.
How did that money be used in the development process?
It's being used to buy the parts for the carts. So we'll make kits with the parts and ship them to first robotics teams across Canada, and we're also in contact with a first team in Brazil. What is it like for you knowing that you're part of something this special? It's really great. It's great to be able to help out, especially right now. And it's lovely to be able to help in such a wide scale.
Striking similarities between the tie Greg was wearing and the tie I'm wearing right now. Just to clarify, this is indeed my tie. Greg, please stay out of my locker. Greg will have your weather forecast right after this.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
Well, Welcome back, everybody. Greg Esterbrooks here with your weather on a very chilly Tuesday. Not exactly gardening weather, but that has not stopped people from going to gardening centers like Burroughs behind me. There are a number of people in there checking things out for the upcoming summer season. Of course, the government of Ontario allowed these stores to be open about a week ago, as they are starting to slowly loosen the reins of all the restrictions put on because of the pandemic. So people are out and shopping at garden centers, and more stores will be opened as time progresses, but it is a slow progression. Another thing arriving this weekend, the annual farmers market will be opening near the museum on Saturday. Lots of restrictions put in though, and we'll update that situation on the farmers market as the week progresses. Now we're going to go to the weather forecast brought to you by Environment Canada and Canadore College. Now to the forecast we go. Overnight tonight, clear, slight wind, low of -4, the wind chill -8. We're almost in the middle of May. Wednesday, sunny, high of 12, wind chill -5 in the morning, UV index 7 or high. Clear overnight on Wednesday, and the low will actually be above 0. It'll be 3. Thursday, cloudy, pretty good chance of a shower, high again of 12. Showers on Thursday night and a low of 9 above. Friday, cloudy, small chance of a shower, high of 18 glorious degrees. Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 17 as we roll into the long weekend. Overnight on Saturday, cloudy, pretty good chance of a shower, again a low of 10. The average high for this time of the year is 16. The average low is 5. And on Monday, it was 4 above and -6 for the low. Ouch. That is it for the weather for this Tuesday. I want to mention that Bobby Ray, formerly of the Granite Club, got a big promotion. We'll talk about that and more in sports right after this with Clark Heupel.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
We are tight for time, so we'll get right to it. Former Granite Club General Manager Bobby Ray is now the Executive Director of the Northern Ontario Curling Association. More from Greg.
After being laid off from the Granite Club because of COVID-19, longtime Granite manager Bobby Ray finds himself with a new job, an even bigger one. He is the new Executive Director of the Northern Ontario Curling Association.
I don't know how many people know I have been a member here since I was 11 years old. I got my first job here when I was 15, and I just never went away. I sort of was able to create a place for me at the club, and I'm very thankful for that. But like you said, when this opportunity came up to sort of be involved in growing the sport across Northern Ontario and get to stay in North Bay and be part of the community and be a member of the Granite Club, I just couldn't pass that up. It's a lot what I've been doing the last couple of years here, sort of thinking a little bit bigger picture. So it's going to be a little bit less day-to-day operations in a club, but more big picture, coming up with new ways to introduce people to the sport, come up with new programs, become inventive on the way that curling clubs can sort of modernize their operations. So that's, of course, what I'm looking most forward to, and that's probably half the job. And then the other half is managing competitions such as the playdown events that graduate our teams to go to national events like the Brier and the Scotties.
Now, if the NOCA opportunity didn't come up, Bobby Ray was probably going to go back to the Granite Club whenever it reopens. But now he's gone from there and the tennis club, too.
For sure. I mean, I spoke to Francois, who's the tennis professional at the club. I spoke to Mark Brown, who's the president here at the club. He hired me back when I was 15 years old. And those are two people that I had to talk to even before I accepted the position. Just really close relationship with them, and they mean a lot to me. So I'm going to absolutely miss tennis. Everything here, curling and tennis, is in great hands. We've come a great deal of distance the last couple of years, and so I have some great co-workers and a really strong board and a really strong vision. So no concerns there, but I'll miss those people, even though I plan to be around quite a bit still.
Now, on the outside, Bobby Ray is rather soft-spoken, but he is a thinker and an innovator. He did a lot of things at the curling club thinking out of the box, and he made the curling club more relevant to local curlers and to curlers from all over the place.
I think the thing I'm most proud about is, like I said, I've been employed here for 14 years, been the manager for 10, and nothing is the way that it was when I started. I'm really happy about that, and that's not to say that it wasn't good before. It was good for that time, and now things are different, and I hope in 10 years from now it looks different again. So I encourage all the people that are involved just to always be kind of open to change and adopt into the times, and we're always dealing with new generations of people that think differently, want different things, and so yeah, I'm proud about the amount of change that we've been able to affect here.
That does it for the newscast on this Tuesday. Be sure to check out our COVID Hero contest, a $100 gift card being awarded. Check our Facebook for more details. Greg will be back on Wednesday live at 5. We'll see you then.